At Tipu Sultan, the last roar of the tiger. The monsoon clouds hovered low over the lush green plains of Mysore as the drums of war echoed across the fortress of Srirangapatna. The year was some 1799, and inside the stone walls of the mighty fortress, Tipu Sultan, the indomitable tiger of Mysore, prepared for his final stand. The British East India Company, with the betrayal of Indian allies, had encircled his capital. They had brought with them tens of thousands of soldiers, heavy artillery, and the cruel ambition of conquest. But Tipu Sultan was undeterred. His eyes, fierce and unblinking, surveyed the battlefield with the sharpness of a hawk. He tightened the grip on his sword, a weapon he had wielded since he was a boy. He remembered his father, Hyder Ali, teaching him, "A ruler who fears war is unworthy of the crown." Tipu had lived by these words, and he would die by them if fate demanded. The tension before the storm. Inside the palace halls, his ministers whispered nervously. They knew the odds were against them. Supplies were running low, and some noblemen had begun plotting in secret, hoping to save themselves by betraying Tipu.
Noble ones, should today's tale have touched the very depths of your heart, grant it your mark of honor alike as we continue this grand journey together.
But Tipu Sultan would not entertain cowardice. He ordered every able man and boy to be armed. Women and children were sheltered deep inside the fort. The city braced for war. That night, Tipu Sultan rode his black Arabian horse along the ramparts. His generals walked beside him, Mir Sadiq, Mir Ghulam Ali, and others. The British had camped just beyond the river. Their cannons gleamed under the lightning flashes. Tipu turned to his generals, voice calm but thunderous. "We fight not just for Mysore, but for every son and daughter of India. Let the world see that the tiger does not cower before jackals." The generals roared in agreement, but little did Tipu know. Among them, a serpent slithered. The betrayal begins. Mir Sadiq, a trusted minister, had already sealed a pact with the British. For promises of gold and power, he had agreed to open the gates at the critical moment. Tipu, however, sensed unrest. That night, he penned what would be his last message to his allies. "I have resolved to stand in the field of battle and prefer a soldier's death to a life of submission." He tied his sword closer to his waist and slept lightly, his dreams filled with gunfire and betrayal, the roar of war.
Light up this story with the beauty of your thoughts and emotions. We'd love to hear your reflections in the comments below. Each of these voiceover options.
At dawn, war erupted. The British artillery unleashed hell. Massive iron balls smashed against the fortress walls. The ground trembled as Mysorean cannons answered back. Clouds of gunpowder thickened the air, choking every breath. Tipu Sultan, in full battle armor of golden tiger stripes, mounted his war elephant. His flag, the roaring tiger, flew high, his voice cut through the thunder of cannons. "Today we fight not for the crown, but for honor, for Mysore, for freedom." Thousands of Mysorean soldiers surged forward. Tipu led from the front, his sword slashing, his spirit unbroken. The British were stunned by the ferocity. For hours, the battlefield became a living nightmare. Swords clashed, blood splattered, muskets cracked. The tiger of Mysore fought like a force of nature. He personally led charge after charge, repelling wave after wave of British soldiers. Every blow of his sword carved legends into the winds. The siege tightens, but the British, aided by the betrayal inside, had their advantage. Mir Sadiq ordered the garrison gates be left half open. Ammunition supplies were deliberately delayed. Tipu's men, realizing the betrayal, cried out,
Urgency. Like the messengers who carried hope across kingdoms, share this tale with your friends and loved ones and inspire them to join the journey.
But it was too late. British soldiers stormed through the breached walls, bayonets glinting in the smoke. Inside the fort, chaos reigned. Tipu, bloodied but undaunted, rallied his dwindling forces. "Follow me!" he shouted, leading a charge into the invaders. He fought like a cornered tiger, refusing to retreat. A bullet struck Tipu's horse, throwing him violently to the ground. But he rose, sword still flashing, cutting down enemies around him. His turban fell, his face was smeared with blood, but he kept fighting, driven by an iron will. The last battle. Tipu retreated to a gateway called the Water Gate, trying to regroup. But British soldiers were everywhere. An officer called out, "Surrender, Tipu Sultan! You shall be treated with dignity." Tipu snarled back. Better to live one day as a tiger than 1,000 years as a jackal. He refused surrender. In the narrow confines of the gateway, surrounded by enemies, Tipu Sultan fought his last battle. Bayonets stabbed at him, muskets fired. He parried and struck, bringing down one enemy after another. A British soldier, recognizing Tipu, fired a musket at close range. The bullet struck Tipu in the side. He staggered but did not fall. Another shot hit his temple.
Encouraging action. If you want the first rays of every new story to light up your world, proclaim your allegiance. Subscribe now and be the first to see the sunrise.
Still, he fought on, dragging his wounded body forward. Finally, overwhelmed by numbers, Tipu Sultan fell. Sword still clenched in his hand, a tiger even in death. The aftermath. When the battle ended, British officers searched the fallen bodies. They found Tipu Sultan under a pile of enemy and ally corpses, his body riddled with bullets, yet his face still fierce in death. Silence gripped the field. Even the British officers stood in awe. They had defeated not just a king, but a spirit that refused to be broken. The flag of the roaring tiger was torn down, and the Union Jack raised over Srirangapatna. Mysore was lost. India had lost one of its greatest sons, yet Tipu Sultan's legend only grew. The legacy of the tiger. Even today, Tipu Sultan is remembered not just as a ruler or warrior, but as a symbol of uncompromising resistance. His rockets would inspire the very British forces that defeated him. His courage would inspire future generations of freedom fighters who decades later would ignite the struggle for India's independence. In his death, Tipu achieved something greater than victory. He became a timeless roar in the hearts of those who dream of freedom. The winds that sweep across the ruins of Srirangapatna still carry the echoes of that final battle, of a warrior who chose death with honor over life in chains. And in the annals of history, Tipu Sultan remains forever. The Tiger of Mysore.
When the next page of history turns, may your heart be the first to hear its tender whisper. Remember to ring the bell icon so our paths may cross again. I promise to return, bringing with me a new legend and a new mystery for your soul to wander through. Until then, take care of yourself, because those who live in stories never truly say goodbye. With love, prayers, and deepest respect, Shariq Mehmood Khan.